Once an idea has taken hold of them, possible to eradicate. An idea that is fully formed, fully understood, that sticks. Right in there somewhere.
For someone like you to steal?
Yes, in the dream state, your conscious defenses are lowered, and it makes your thoughts vulnerable to theft. It's called extraction.
C.E.O, we can train your subconscious to defend itself from even the most skilled extractor.
How can I do that?
Because I am the most skilled extractor. I know how to search your mind and find your secrets. I know the tricks, and I can teach them to you so that even when you're asleep, your defense is never down.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheap Seat Reviews.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheap Seat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
No, thank you for the greater good.
I kind of feel like this is definitely the most chill music that I've done to kind of intro the show with. Like,
yes,
I feel like just ready to. Hello, this is
hi. Welcome to Cheap Seat Reviews, the podcast that relaxes you as you try to sleep.
Yeah, or. And you're still muted.
And just muted.
Go ahead, sir, please.
Never mind. It's not funny anymore. Just move along.
Well, I was just gonna say it's like
nope. Move along.
No, I am gonna move along. I feel like we're like this isn't the movie for it, but it does kind of feel like there should be an episode where like we do like NPR voice the whole time, right? Where we go, hello, this is Cheap Seat Reviews.
Maybe we'll actually do a movie where it is like that, for a lot of it, that we just calmly explain our opinions on that movie.
Didn't Garrison Keillor make a Prairie Home Companion TV
He
movie?
did, yep. But it's
that.
not like, it's not completely like that, though. It's a fairly decent tale.
Right, but that's what maybe I don't know. But that's what makes it funny. Like if we all talked like Garrison Keillor the whole time.
Yeah.
Like we used to have one of his shows on tape, and we would listen to it in the car whenever we were on road trips. And I only remember he always just breathed into the microphone like crazy. Like he would talk about Lake Wobegon, where the women are strong, the men are good looking, and the children are above average.
Yeah, he did.
Always did that. I'll just never forget that. Anyway, this is episode 302, and tonight.
And this is far away from Lake Wobegon.
Yes, we are far away from Lake Wobegon. This is episode 302, and tonight we're talking about Inception.
It's when a man loves a woman, and they get together, and the thingies kind of collide, and you would get Inception.
The thingies collide. You just said that on radio. That's disgusting. Oh my goodness. Inception. I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew. The van is still falling Jimison.
As we speak.
That's how I live my life. I take my time. I procrastinate a little here and there. I take my time getting in accidents as well.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
And Sam, the way I wrote this, it really should be sang, but I'm not gonna sing it. So let's see if you can pick up the song.
Oh, come on.
Sam, catch the midday train going anywhere. Vector.
Oh, nice. And the funny thing is, this I've seen this movie at least 5 or 6 times now, and that train still made me jump when it hits the car. It's, for some strange reason, it's just out of nowhere every time. I keep forgetting about it. But Sean,
Yeah,
there's so many ways to die in this movie.
but there isn't though, right?
But you know what I'll do?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let a friend think of something a little bigger, dream a little bigger, and come up with an idea to kill you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
So,
just
it won't be
I
me.
think- I
It'll be
figured
somebody
Really,
else.
there's multiple ways to wake up in this movie.
yeah.
True. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
go.
You can't really. I mean, as a physical person, now you could be a projection, right, and die, or the projections die, but the humans can't.
Yeah, no humans died in this movie, right?
No.
Except
No.
well, all. But
Well, the father,
oh yeah, the Faja, he does. Yeah, he does.
Kumbayashi. Yeah.
Kumbayashi. The Kobayashi Maru.
Kobayashi.
Yeah, I like that actor, by the way. He's cool. I know him from lots and lots of things. He's just one of those actors that's been in like 2,000 things. But for some reason, he's my favorite part of the Dragonheart movie.
What's he in Dragonheart? I don't remember him in Dragonheart.
He's like this. He's a priest, right? He's a priest. It's roaming the countryside, looking to tell stories, and then he runs into Bowen, the Dennis Quaid's character, and they kind of pal up for a little while, and then he ends up becoming like the best archer ever. And it's like he's like reading scripture as he's shooting guys. Like he shoots a guy in the butt cheek, and he goes, "Turn the other cheek, brother," like stuff like that. Like, in an otherwise not very good movie, I think he's kind of one of the better parts.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I forgot all about him in there.
Eat postal weight. Postal weight. That's a weird name.
Postal Weight.
He's cool. He's really good.
I had a really good friend in grad school, Postal Weight.
Oh, that's
So,
neat.
yep.
Maybe they were long lost cousins or something.
Maybe. I knew him from Usual Suspects as the lawyer.
Yeah. No, he's in lots of things. He was in the what? Oh, that's
What?
right. He's in Jurassic Park. He's in Lost World.
Yeah, Lost World.
Oh, I forgot. See, there you get a Jurassic Park connection.
But I generally don't bother with the sequels. By the way, did you guys see the news? Did you see what was #1 in the box office this weekend?
Yeah, it's
20
so
years later.
That's so cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Or not, just more than 20 years, right?
27 years, I think.
27 years later, it's #1 in the box office. I love it. I love it. And if I could find a drive-in movie theater to go see Jurassic Park, I would do it just to get that experience.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I wonder if there is one around here, Kimberly. The girls? Well, we wouldn't be able to take the girls yet. Sorry, having spousal conversations on our podcast.
Nothing like that. Like good. Making plans with your wife is great radio. I will. Okay, we'll talk off air. I have found a solution to your problem there, Sam.
Okay.
Anyway, so this movie, this is Inception. So there's a lot to talk about with this movie, right? I mean, there's all kinds of great conspiracies and theories. It has an open-ended ending. Is he truly with his kids, or is it still a dream? There's a lot to dissect with this movie, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. But I guess part of me just wants to say is that we've all seen this movie several times. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Many times.
Okay. So I want to do something kind of dumb instead first.
Okay.
Let's pretend that this technology is real. Okay. And that's one of the things I love this movie for lots of different reasons. And one of them is the fact that the movie is not hand wavy. It just goes, there's this technology. We're not going to explain it. It doesn't matter. It's not important. We're just going to move on. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm totally great with that. I really am. So let's pretend that this technology exists. Okay. So whether you guys want to team up and do a thing or do it by like what is the thing that you would want to do? What is the thing that you would want to experience?
Fly.
I don't think I can say that where people can hear it.
So you said fly, like Superman?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that would be a cool,
like a superhero. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do like a superhero dream where you're doing like superhero-y kind of things?
Yeah, I think so. Or I'd just fly. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, if I saw you in a, about to get run over by a train, I'd maybe get a good vantage point and watch. So,
Sure.
yeah, yeah. And I could put it online and make a bunch of money.
I think it would be cool to meet
in the dream?
some really awesome people that, in history. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
The projections, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they would only be what you know about them, right? Because
Exactly, which means I would like them all, except for like Hitler.
Right, you do like, hey, I only know 3 things about you, so let's talk about those 3 things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm lame. I've thought about this a lot, actually, and I have this. I've thought about this in 2 different ways. So if it was the dream idea, I would love to just interject myself into various movies as not as hero, not as the main character. I want the main character to exist. I want the main storyline to exist. I just want to be the guy next to Luke in the X-wing.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
I want to be Red 6. I think that would be cool. And then of course you get shot down, you just wake up, right? And then
Or Biggs.
Well, I don't want to be Biggs because again plus he dies. But but like that, or do something even crazier, like go to the Battle of Helm's Deep, but bring guns. You know what I'm saying? Like you like all of us, like the group of us that hang out, like we go to Helm's Deep and we've got like firearms and grenades and stuff, and we know about the flaw. Like we know Sauron's gonna put the dynamite underneath the thing, so we get there ahead of time and we brick it up, and like guys, we got you, right? And so like we save like all of these extra soldiers' lives, so that when it's time to save Gondor, like we are all over it. You know what I'm saying? Like those are the things that I thought about. So, like I said, I've spent a lot of time thinking about these.
Well, and I was thinking, with this movie as well, their ultimate creation, I think is what she said, right?
Mhm.
So you create worlds, you can create anything in this movie, which means you can be more than human, right? You could have superpowers, you could fly. They didn't do it, but I would think the dreamer could control it, right? It'd be like a lucid dream where you have control over your surroundings. So I don't see why you couldn't be anything you want. I mean, this to me is like Limbo sounds like the perfect world. Just, as much as they hate Limbo, or, and they're saying Limbo is this bad place. I don't know. I think Limbo would be a blast. I think it would be a heck of a lot of fun to get down to that level and be able to do anything you want.
Well, the only thing that the movie really kind of tells us about it is that the outside world can affect the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Like in level 2, there's no gravity because the van is in free fall, because the host is in free fall. So we have no idea, obviously, if in this universe of dream technology, if you can do those things, Sam, what you're talking about. I'm all for the idea of it. I mean, it sounds cool. And at the very least, you could always just, invent the Iron Man suit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Something, like whatever. Like I think that'd be cool as heck. So I'm all for it. You want the Oasis.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, except the difference is when you're in Limbo, according to this movie, time in the real world is ground almost to a halt.
Yeah.
Which would be a plus.
Yeah, and that's the difference between,
because you're not
Limbo
missing as much.
Exactly. So I think I would rather do Inception than Oasis.
Well,
and for somebody like me that, I'm going to be late to my own funeral, that would be really handy.
And is this? Do you think it's something like the Matrix, where if you learn kung fu, do you wake up and know the moves?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio in the real world seemed pretty handy with running away.
Right? Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I guess my question is, have any of us ever in a dream? I mean, I've had the flying dream a bunch of times, but I'm scared of heights, so it's always really weird. And I've had the Spider-Man dream where I can actually shoot webs and swing. But again, I've never been to New York. I've only been to New York once. So most of my dreams, though, I'm like flying around like Greensboro, where there's like 4 buildings that are tall, right? But like I wonder if you can only do things in your dream that you have the skill set that you know how to do.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
I would never do anything.
But yet somehow this guy was trained enough to know when people were in his dreams. His subconscious had armed itself, basically.
Yeah.
So there's something there. There's some. I mean, they never really explored it because Lord knows there was enough to explain or try to explain in this movie without going off the deep end. No, it brings up a lot of questions, which I love in this type of thing.
Yeah, I do too. So let's get back into kind of the show proper. So Sam, why don't you let us hit us with your best shot, and of course by best shot I mean your 5-word review.
All right, yeah, I've got 3 of them here actually. My first one I've kind of already said, and that's Limbo doesn't sound all bad. And then I've got Who Thinks of This Stuff, right?
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, and then which apparently it took him years to write this thing. So, but my real review, I guess 5-word review of this is Sharp Visuals with Heady Themes. Okay. So cool. I love this movie. I love Nolan's movie. There's very few Nolan movies that I just don't like. I can tolerate Dark Knight Rises, and I finally saw Dunkirk, which is good, but not the best. But I just love his movies.
You finally saw Dunkirk. I forgot I saw that before you did.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's not bad. It's just not up there here with Inception or The Prestige or Interstellar. So, but I really enjoyed this. I think for what this movie had to do, right? I mean, this wasn't like we were talking about common ideas and common tropes in a movie. This was new stuff, new ground, and to be able to explain it like he was able to do and keep us understanding where everybody was and the stakes that every character was in, I just thought he did an incredible job keeping on for the ride. And
You instantly teleported 30 feet away
bathroom.
from the microphone.
All right, sorry. I must have had a jolt or a what do you call it? Not a jump. I had a kick that got me out of this. But I enjoy the ride. And it's one of these movies that you just don't want it to stop. I want to live in this world and keep going. So, definitely can tell there's some Bond. This is almost like a Bond, love note to Bond filmmaking. There's a lot of stylizations that would go perfectly along a Bond film as well.
Well, I mean, literally while you're talking, and I'm cruising through some of the trivia, just because I spent 20 minutes on trivia before the show, and there's over 100 entries in the trivia.
Yeah.
It was hard to read through, but literally you're talking about Bond as I read. Christopher Nolan has said that the snow-based Third Level dream was inspired by his favorite Bond movie, On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
There you go. Yep. So that makes sense.
Andrew.
Okay, I only have one this week, and it is we're just missing Christian Bale.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. Other than that, this is the same cast of Dark Knight Rises.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
He
Yep.
does. He does like his people, and they hang out. I mean, I'm. Go ahead, Sam.
I was going to say, we've talked about this before, but there are certain directors who do that a lot, and I think he is absolutely one of them.
Yeah. Tarantino's another that uses a lot of the same people.
Scorsese.
Scorsese, yeah.
Spielberg likes him some Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Who doesn't?
Well, I mean, sure. There's the Coen brothers. They like Brolin.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But it does kind of feel like, I don't know. It just kind of feels like Michael Caine is like Christopher Nolan's like stepfather or something. Like he's in every one of his movies.
Yeah, he has some sort of hold over him that
he knows.
he can't get out of.
It's really interesting. Oh, that's weird. Here's a really weird piece of trivia. The running time of the movie on DVD, I don't know why that's specific, but on the DVD is exactly 8,888 seconds.
Wow. How'd
Nice.
they manage that?
I don't know.
So what's your 5-word there, Sean?
Yeah. So yeah, mine is simply great, thought-provoking action film.
Mm-hmm.
Action film with a mind to it, with a brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would go a step further to say a visually and aesthetically pleasing,
Mm-hmm.
breakthrough into the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like you said, Sam, this is a movie that really had to explore some new ground.
Mm-hmm.
I think The Matrix kind of broke into it a little bit for us, but this one really took things to a new level. And we saw other movies borrow from this, like Doctor Strange.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And Marvel will who knows? I think Marvel came before this in terms of different universes and different levels of consciousness and things like that. So.
Yeah, I do believe that the director of Doctor Strange saw this movie and said, "Oh yeah, I want to do some of that stuff." That kind of mind-bending stuff.
Yeah, I want to make the buildings move and make cool shapes and stuff.
Well, I mean, and honestly, when I remember like the first teaser for Doctor Strange before I knew it was a Marvel, and I saw like the buildings doing stuff, I thought, "Oh, are we getting an Inception too?"
Mm-hmm.
And then you see like the Marvel Studios or Disney Studios or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is a Marvel thing." And then when it was Doctor Strange, I'm like, "I know nothing about you, but I'm intrigued."
Interstellar is another one that may borrow a little from this.
Yeah. Well, and just trying to not be just a generic blockbuster, right? It's putting some brain power behind it, which I appreciate.
Yeah, no, that's the great thing about his movies, except for Dark Knight Rises, is that they make you think about things.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Well,
like
they tried on Dark Knight. They really tried. It just fell flat. It wasn't.
Well, I mean, because
that great of a story.
Because the Dark Knight was so good, and it is kind of thought-provoking because that movie is more than just bad versus good. It's a social experiment between, about what people would be willing to do if you push them hard enough.
Yeah.
And then also the movie also is trying to tell you that people are inherently good when given the opportunity to do so. In that, I love the idea that when the prisoners have the bomb key, Tiny Lister goes over there, picks the thing up, and throws it out the window.
Yep. So they have no choice to.
Yeah. Don't have. There's not an option. He's taken that option away, and it's just
such a coughing fit. I mean, it's just an incredible coughing fit where we almost need to drink something to make sure that our throat is open so that we're not coughing on the recording. Definitely want to check on that.
Man, that was gnarly. I would have thought a moth just flew in my mouth or something.
Don't breathe in and swallow at the same time.
Oh my God, no, it wasn't. It's just like
You're doing it wrong, Sean. You're doing it wrong.
Yes, so the YouTube people are gonna love this. Man, that was ridiculous. Go back and watch the footage. Yes, I don't even know what I was talking about. That I'm so out of it right now. That cough about killed me. So did this movie have a hopping man?
Have a hopping man.
Did it?
The only thing I could think of was the dude what was the architect at the beginning who turns himself into Saito, and then they drag him out of the helicopter, and I was always confused as why. Why is that guy being punished and Cobb isn't?
Because he's not going along with it or something, right?
But is it because he turned himself in, and so Saito just assumes like, well, if he's going to turn himself into me, then if he gets caught doing the job I want them to do, he'll turn himself into someone else?
Maybe.
Because
Maybe he realized, this guy the character of this guy isn't what he needs.
Yeah. I mean, I know like because they basically say, are you going to kill him? He goes, no, I'm not going to kill him, but we're going to give him over to that other company. And they might, like, we don't really know what happens to him. I just kind of felt bad for that guy. I was like, and I just didn't know what happened to him, but okay, whatever. Not a big deal. Yes. So this movie is, obviously the film score is great. Hans Zimmer is amazing in this.
Yes. And
there's some fun kind of little things that he does in this movie that are really neat. And there's so I captured this trivia. Captures wrong. I copied and pasted this bit of trivia. And normally I would read it during the trivia part, but I want to actually kind of have a conversation about it a little bit because I think it's really interesting. And that's the song, right? The song that they play to give the warning for the kick.
Yeah, the French song.
Yeah. So there's a reason why they play that song very specifically. A direct translation of the lyrics for the song is "Non je ne regrette rien." Ryan. I'm not good at French. As performed by Edith Piaf. Piaf is, I regret nothing. No, I have no regrets. I regret neither the good things that were done to me nor the bad things. They were all the same to me. The past is past. The past is paid, swept away, forgotten. I don't care of the past anymore. I set my memories on fire. It kind of sounds like an emo song if you put it to different tone. My agonies and my pleasures, I don't need them anymore. Swept away in the agonies of love, swept away forever. I'm restarting with nothing.
Are you sure this isn't Panic at the Disco?
It kind of does feel like a My Chemical Romance or something, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So Christopher Nolan has made a point in saying that he chose this song specifically for the movie, which is heavily concerned with the effect of memories on the psyche, and specifically disastrous effects of not letting go of memories of love gone wrong can have on subconscious, exactly what the song is discussing. So I think that's really neat, and that the idea that even the song that we get
has something to do with it.
Yeah, and there's just something really deep about that, and that's what just makes this movie just that next level, right? Because
Are you going to get into the deeper parts of the song later in trivia?
No. What do you mean about Mal?
No.
Oh, I mean,
so what I thought was cool was that Hans Zimmer took that song and slowed it way down. For some of the music that we got in his score.
Yeah, for the mind heist or whatever or something, he does that. He's really great about that.
It's almost like sampling, right? You kind of like rappers do, where they sample music. A lot of them seems like the newer movie composers sample, kind of mix it up.
I remember you and I watched. I guess it was YouTube video a few years ago where this guy basically took the original John Williams Superman score, and then played the Hans Zimmer version. And if you take the John Williams, the dun da 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 dum, if you take parts of that, just the bum 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 part, that's the same interval that they use in the new Hans Zimmer Superman. So he's basically kind of paying an homage to the original while making it his own, which is really cool. Yeah. And then he did the same thing for the Dark Knight series for the Batman. Is instead of having this kind of loud, bombastic Danny Elfman arrangement, it's a 2-note theme, but it's the same 2 notes that are in the Danny Elfman Batman. So anyway, that stuff is, I love that kind of stuff. Oh my gosh. Okay. So there's not honestly, in a movie like this, there's not a lot of joy. Well, there's some joy, but there's not a lot of humor. Not really. But there's a moment in the movie where I kind of laughed out loud, and I'm not supposed to. At least I don't think I am. So when they go meet, with the chemist, I can't remember his name. Yeah, Yusef.
Yeah.
They go meet the chemist, and they walk downstairs, and there's this old man, and without any prompting, he just slaps this man in the face, right?
Yeah.
And part of me thought, like, I know what the movie's trying to tell me, like, oh, his sedatives were so strong you can get slapped in the face and not wake up. But part of me thought, did that guy know that Yusuf was gonna bring these possible clients down? So, or does he just randomly slap men in the face? Like, it's just this way he gets off while he's just sitting there babysitting these sleeping bodies. I just thought that was crazy. Oh, sorry. Anyway,
you can feel that in the morning. You wake up, you're like, oh man, why does my face hurt so much?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, remember that Adam Sandler movie Click, where he can pause the remote, and he pauses the remote on his boss, and then he slaps him a bunch of times, and then he gets up and it's like, wow, I have a headache.
Also reminds me of Tommy Boy. He's like, not here so much, but right here.
It doesn't hurt so much here or here, but right here. Nope, nothing wrong with your face. Oh my gosh, what happened to your face? I knew it. Yeah, oh my god. I don't know what else to say about this movie.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I'm hoping everybody has seen this thing, because this would be a movie. If someone said they hadn't seen it yet, I would make them sit down and watch with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. This is definitely a movie. If you do listen to the podcast and you just listen to it without watching the movie, I mean, first of all, this movie's 10 years old now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But you definitely need to watch this movie. It's 2.5 hours, so it's kind of long. But
so why is it so good? I guess that's
it's clever.
You don't feel it though, right?
You don't feel it, and it's clever, and it, as you're watching it, things that you think will happen don't.
Yep.
His wife being really the antagonist.
Antagonist, yeah.
Of the movie. You don't. I mean, you expect it, but you don't.
Yep.
But finding out that he planted the thought in her of her killing herself, really, and having to live with that guilt, being the reason that he knows that Inception works. That's deep.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what the guilt is. Why it tears at him so much, and that's why she keeps showing up, because he can't let go. And
it kind of reminded me of the phrase from Bruce Banner. My secret is I'm always angry. Like he's always guilty, or he always feels that guilt, so he knows.
Yeah.
Which
is why he's trying to take precautions. He's not making the mazes. He's not, creating the worlds, and yet she still
shows up. A train still comes through the middle of town. I mean, it seeps in because his I guess his emotions, his subconscious is so powerful.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to lock it away as opposed to letting it go.
Yeah.
One thing that I kind of wish the movie had done was there's many more things that could happen in dreams than I think we saw.
Mm-hmm.
And we've already mentioned flying. I mean, that's one thing that many people have, and they kind of touched on that with the zero gravity of the outside world. But we all know that the outside world, when you're dreaming, it can affect your dream. Like if you fall out of bed, you might dream you're falling. But at the same time, I think we've all had dreams of flying and not actually been flying. Speaking of flies, you got one buzzing around you there, Sean?
No, there's people talking outside in the street. It's kind of late, and that's why I was making sure that it wasn't coming from like my kids talking.
You got some protests or something in your street there?
I don't know.
Kids outside?
In Charlotte?
I hope they're not outside. Well, specifically, kind of to your point about the whole point of the movie is to make a mark do a thing, and because only one time do they tell the mark they're in a dream. They show off the weird gravity and the weather and stuff, but the rest of the movie they're trying to prove that this is real. So if you do man stuff, you break the illusion. So
and the subconscious might attack you quicker.
Yeah,
I would guess, right?
Exactly.
The only time that I saw it really happen is when Tom Hardy's character says, "You got to dream bigger," and he pulls out the big gun.
Yeah, he pulls out a grenade launcher. Yeah, and that's what made me wonder is, can you just? Because I've done that before, right? I'm going to be honest. There are times I can't always do it, but there are times I could lucid dream, and so there have been times where I'm in a dream where it's like, man, I really need a weapon right now because things are about to get hairy, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh look, there's a gun. But of course, my brain can only materialize what I experience, and most of the time it's not a real handgun because I've only ever fired a handgun once. So it's usually like a Nerf gun, right? That I have to pull back but shoots real bullets. Or it's a squirt gun that shoots real bullets for some reason, like it's never a real gun because again, I don't really have a good understanding of what that feels like in my hand, what it feels like to pull a trigger because I've only ever fired one once. And that was 7 or 8 years ago.
Something else that I know that this is stupid, but what I was thinking of every time, there was a lot of water in this movie. And so they say when you're dreaming about water, you have to use the bathroom. And I kept waiting for that to be played into the movie.
They did. Joke. Right?
They make that joke?
When it's raining, and they let Yusuf into the car, they're like
about too much champagne.
That's
something.
that's right.
Yeah,
that's
they
right.
make.
I do remember that now.
The pee before you got on the plane or something. He's like, yeah, I had too much champagne. Like they made that joke. So
I got it. Okay. I forgot about that.
That's
You're
one of the really clever things in the movie is like we all have these little experiences in our dreams, but we don't really talk about it because maybe we're embarrassed or whatever. And so when he's talking to Ellen Page, and he goes, "You know how I dream? You just show up in the middle. You don't remember how it starts." And like I'm sitting there going, "Yes." I always thought I was the only one that was like this, but then when the movie said that's how it is, it's like, oh my gosh, you're right. And like when you get to the middle, you just know backstory. Like your brain just fills in how you got there. And of course, the night that I watched this, right, I have these really vivid, really interesting dreams. And I woke up, when did I watch this? 2 nights ago? Last night. I watched it last night. So yeah, this morning I woke up and I was like, I want to write down what I dreamt last night because it felt like, I mean, it kind of had the feel of like every other zombie movie ever. But like imagine like I Am Legend, right? Because the things only attack at night in the dream. They only attack at night. But the big difference is that like we learn how to deal with that as a society. And so we have normal life during the day. And then we all just have learned how to live in these like confined, like these bunker style houses and compounds. So when it's nighttime, you just shut her up and you just, that was the idea of the dream. And it felt so weird. There was a lot of food trucks. We had food trucks because you have to be able to stay mobile because it's hard to grow food for crops. Andrew, you just got really dark all of a sudden. You like disappeared. That was weird.
Yeah, he's getting ready for the bunker. It's turning into night over there in Andrew's house.
Anyway, I didn't take many notes on this movie because one, there's not a lot of note taking to be had because the movie is constantly moving forward, and the thing that's so great about this movie is once they go into the dream the first time, right, which is like the last hour of the movie, you're constantly feeling almost like anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to succeed? Are they going to be able to get this thing done? Like there's this constant, pressure, and like there's music the entire time. Like Hans Zimmer is constantly building up the pressure. There's very few moments of quiet. A couple times when Cobb is talking to the Scarecrow just by themselves, there's some quiet, but for the most part, there's lots of talking. But anyway, but one of the things I did right was they really should have got a better vehicle than that crappy Ford van.
Dream bigger, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Like, there's what 6 of them in there, 6 or 7 of them in there.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7. Like, couldn't they have gotten like a Ford Excursion that's like wider based, it's not gonna flip over super easy, or I don't know, just the urban assault vehicle or something. Get the Batmobile. It just like if they knew they were gonna get shot at for a while, right? He had to drive around for many, many minutes in order for them to have enough time to do the other things that they needed to do. I do love the hallway gimbal fight.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what they did was, if you know what I'm talking about, the fight scene where they're bouncing around all the walls or the floor.
Oh yeah, that's probably one of the coolest scenes in the movie.
They built that hallway floating, right? And it's built on what's called a gimbal. And so the hallway is just rotating at different angles and at different speeds. And of course the camera is attached to the floor so that the camera doesn't it's not spinning. And Gordon Levitt did most of his own stunts for that. I thought that was really cool. That's just a really cool scene. And there's lots of other movies that have done that thing before. They're not the first to do it, but it still looks really cool. So Sarah, my wife, asked an interesting question. She watched this with me.
Oh, well, okay.
And she asked the question, and there's not really an answer. And I told her, I was like, I don't know if there's an answer to your question, and I said, not to sound mean, I don't care that there's not an answer. But she asked, how does the machine know who is the architect of the dream?
Oh. There must be like a special cuff that goes on that person.
And that's
right?
what I said. Like you have the machine and it has up to 8 connectors, but the green connector is the architect and the blue connectors are just people that are joining in, right? Like you would think that they never say it, like whoever goes in first is the architect or whoever gets the special wire. They don't say it, but I don't really care that they don't say it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. But
it does, but it doesn't.
I mean, again, my wife asked the question, and so that's why I was like, oh, that's actually a really good question. I don't know the answer, but do we care? I don't care.
A little.
See, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Is there air? You don't know. Well, I kind of like did the Jurassic Park thing with the Galaxy Quest thing.
I was about to say, what?
Yeah. We got Johnson. We got Dodson here. See, nobody cares. I love the paradox stairs. I think that's really cool. Though I will say this, honestly, the worst part of the movie is Jason Gordon-Levitt, Arthur, is he's chasing the guy down the stairs, right? And then he does the paradox thing, and he gets behind him, and then he pushes, and he waits for the camera to go underneath before he goes, paradox, and then throws the guy over.
Yeah, that was a little...
It's dumb. It was
that was the first time in watching this movie where I was like, oh god, a little bit over the top there. So.
Well, and unneeded really, because we already went over that in the previous portion of the movie, so do we really have to say paradox?
Exactly.
Yeah. Ooh, that was a weird noise. Good. I don't know if you could hear that or not. I hit a spring on my my microphone boom arm. That was fun. The only trope that I wrote down, and there are several other ones, but the only one that I wrote was foot chases must go through restaurants.
Yeah.
So
or cafes of some sort.
Yeah.
Kitchens.
Kind of. Yeah. Usually it's a kitchen, but this case I had to broaden it out to just restaurant because he goes in that restaurant like God does not want him there. He's like, hey, get out of here. He's like, no, I want a coffee. No.
And can I add a trope where a plan doesn't quite go according to plan?
Oh yeah, I mean, gosh,
it has to. Yeah,
that's every movie.
Something has to go wrong. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like how Fisher's like he couldn't have dreamt up of a beach or something. You know, I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah. Okay, that's it. I'm ready to do a clip or two. I didn't get a whole lot because again, after about the first hour of the movie, they're just yelling at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Or honestly, the conversation is really deep, like it's really in depth, and they're talking about the death of his wife and whatever, and so
not quite our podcast.
Yeah, not something I want to replay, I guess is the point. But I captured this because I never picked up on this. Well, not never. I didn't pick up on this the first 2 or 3 times I watched it, but I did this time watching it. And that's this line.
I'm getting off at Kyoto. Why? He's not going to check every compartment. I don't like trains.
I don't like trains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I missed that too.
Yeah. That was very appropriate. But yeah, I never picked up on that before. Of course, you're gonna say the name of the movie. I have to, get it here.
What do you want from us?
Inception. Is it possible?
Of course
not. Now, I thought about doing like a mashup because earlier in the intro where Cobb talks about he's the best at extraction, I thought about splicing that in from the movie Extraction that we watched with Chris.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Like I'm the best person at extraction, and then Chris Hemsworth comes in and says, I'm ready for extraction or something like that, like to make the argument that Chris Hemsworth is actually the best at extraction. If I had more time, I probably would have done it, but I was running late for the show. This line we all can totally agree on.
We want to be stuck in a dream for 10 years.
Depends on the dream.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they did the math. I read in the trivia. If you do the math, when Cobb and Maul go, when they do their 50 years, they grow old together. Because they were so, far down, it was only 10 hours in real life. So it's not like they were gone from their actual kids for a long time. Like it was just a long night's sleep or an average nap for Sam.
Yeah. Yeah. They but their minds were how old? Ancient, right?
At 50 years.
50 years in there. Yeah.
And that makes you wonder, like, I don't know, do you remember that experience, or does it feel like the dream? Like, do you wake up from that and it's all cloudy and weird and you don't really remember it?
I would guess so. I would guess it would be like any other dream. Where...
Well, I guess also, though, if you're the longer you're there, you know, the more your brain starts to shift into that world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one question I asked my wife when we were watching this was, I wonder if you're getting, because you're actively using parts of your brain that are normally not active when you're sleeping, are you getting rest?
Yeah. Although they say REM sleep is where you dream, but it's also the most restful sleep.
Right, and it's restful. It's because that's the part of your brain that's doing hard drive maintenance on your brain. Like it's literally, it's you're defragging your brain, and you're literally getting rid of toxins and stuff. So I mean, so like you do 10 hours of that kind of of sleep. I mean, are you ready to go for the next 20 hours of you know what I'm saying? I just I don't know. This is the most Tony Stark line in the entire movie.
It would have to be a 747. Why is that? So a 747, the pilot's up top, the first class cabin's in the nose, so no one would walk through. But you'd have to buy out the entire cabin and the first class flight attendant.
I bought the airline. It seemed neater.
Okay, it seems neater.
Oh, I thought he said needed.
Oh, needed. Is that what he said? It seemed needed?
Could be. I'm not sure.
That's what I thought he said, but it could be neater as well. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. This is another one of those where Sean says, he said what now?
It seemed neater.
And maybe it is neater. Yeah, I heard a T in there.
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
It seemed neater.
Neater. I thought it's yeah.
Like cleaner, right? Not like hey, neat. You bought an airline. But it kind of makes you wonder. Like, he is the head of the most powerful energy company on the planet, and he bought an airline. Like, how much money does
he have?
You know, it's not just that does he have, right? Is that, I mean, to buy an airline by an energy company would be a big deal. Like, that would be hard to do, right? I mean, like, that sounds like government, like congressional hearings. Like when, you know what I'm saying? Like when AT&T bought DirecTV, that was a big deal. And, I don't know, whatever. It was still a cool line for the movie. So, I mean, I understand why they did it, but it's kind of neat. And Sam mentioned this earlier, and I had to capture it because it made me chuckle.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
Though I never noticed that music right there. Listen to that music.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
If I would have told you I pulled that clip from 1992, you would have believed me.
Yeah.
Or a news show. You know.
A little bigger,
yeah, you're not. Yeah, you're right. A news show like this just in.
Yeah, tonight on tonight's news,
on tonight's news. Yeah. Remote. We always here's good advice from our anchor.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
And without the context that he's talking to Joseph Gordon-Levitt, it sounds like he's mansplaining to a woman.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Like. Their relationship cracked me up. There's a lot, when I was going back and getting clips, there's a lot more of the kind of fun interplay between the two of them that is really funny. In fact, I think there was another clip that I thought I got, and I feel like I'm missing. But I guess I got all the clips, though. Yeah, I guess I did. I could have swore I had another one. No, I did. I don't like trains. It depends on the dream. Bought the airline. Yeah, there's a clip. There's a clip basically where they're talking about Gordon-Levitt basically he uses the word specificity, and I thought it was really funny how he said specificity. He says it twice. It's a funny line. I can't find it. That's lame.
Oh.
Yeah. All right.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
Some trivia. So I already read some of it, but I will read a little bit more because it's worth hearing. Such as, okay, I will say this. This is kind of annoying, but whenever they're referring to Christopher Nolan, they had to write during an interview, writer, producer, and director Christopher Nolan. Every piece of trivia that mentions Christopher Nolan, it is writer, producer, and director. Like,
really,
we have to make sure that you know
he did everything.
He did it all. We haven't even mentioned this. Holy cow, we have not even gotten here. So let's do this right now. Nolan addressed the ambiguous ending, saying that he believes Cobb makes it home to his children, although it is open to interpretation by the viewer. He further claimed that the point of not seeing whether or not the top stops spinning is that Cobb no longer obsesses over his dream.
Well, I kind of like the idea of the wedding ring.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
not his thing.
His totem,
that's his,
right?
Yeah, it's not his totem. Cobb's totem is his wedding ring, whereas the top was his wife's totem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the fact that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That he's no longer obsessing about the dream state, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean the ending. He could be there now.
Yeah.
There's another piece of trivia that I didn't write down, but basically when Michael Caine was reading the script, he said to Christopher Nolan, he's like, "This is confusing. When are we in the dream and when are we not?" And he basically said, "Whenever you're on the camera, it's not a dream." So
okay.
So that kind of gives, so I wish I had never known that. Right?
Yeah.
Because I want to believe that he gets to go and be with his kids, and those are the real children. But there's another part of me that says, who cares? Right? If he never wakes up from the train or the plane, if he has gone into limbo, and whenever Saito says, "All right, let's wake up," and we don't know how he wakes up, right? Because you can't just get killed, right? You can't just shoot himself. He has to have the kick all the way back up. And we don't know how that happens because he's missed all of the other kicks. So we don't know how he wakes up, but he does somehow, right? And like I don't know, I guess, and there's also the physics of the idea that when the other ones, when they're in the dream state, they don't need oxygen. You know, like when they're under, because they're sharing an oxygen tank, but Saito and Cobb are just still strapped into the seat. So like, did they drown? And then this is what his mind is doing to, who knows, right? There's a lot of,
still in the dream state though, so would it matter?
I don't know. I mean, if your brain doesn't have oxygen, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I never thought of that because they were dead, right?
And if they died in the dream, would they not have woken up?
Well, I mean,
or is that what woke them up?
That was the thing, right? Like they said that you can't be killed and just wake up in this version of the because of the serum that they used, right? You would just you would go into the thing, which is what happened to Saito. He died because of level 1. He died at level 3, and therefore his mind went into limbo, and so Cobb had to go down to level 4 to get him in limbo.
Yeah.
And to bring him back. We don't know how he brings him back. You show him he's holding a firearm, he's holding a gun, but we've been told specifically in the movie you can't just shoot yourself and wake up. So we never know how he wakes up. So there's an argument to be made that he never does wake up. This is just now his new reality, and that he is stuck in limbo, but he gets to be with his kids. So who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's a part of me that just says, hey, he still gets what he wants, so it doesn't matter.
It's a happy ending.
Yeah, it is.
Ish.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It definitely is. Here's my question. I guess we didn't really answer it, but we did. I mean, and to your point, one of you mentioned it, the wedding band, right? And this was one I found out about recently was the idea that, like you mentioned, Andrew, or Sam, honestly, sorry, I can't remember who said it, that the totem, the top is not his totem, that's his wife's, and that his wedding band is his totem.
Yeah.
And that in the movie you can clearly see that he's wearing his wedding band when he's in dream state, and he's not when he's out. And when we see him at the end of the movie with his kid, he's not wearing it.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting piece of trivia. I thought this was really interesting. The fact that someone tracked this information, or that this stat. There are 399 questions asked in the movie, including tag questions. Subconscious is motivated by emotion, right? Cobb leads all characters with 113, followed by Ariadne with 93, and then Arthur with 44.
Wow. That's a lot of questions.
Yeah, it really is.
Which is weird. The last one I wrote down was Ariadne is the name of the figure from Greek mythology who helped Theseus find his way out of the labyrinth after killing the Minotaur.
That's right. I thought I recognized that name. Yeah.
There's another really kind of weird piece of trivia, which I don't know if it's a coincidence or I don't know. I don't know if maybe Nolan does coincidences, but if you take the first letter of the
the names, yeah.
Then it spells the word dream.
And then the additional characters end up spelling pay.
Yeah, dream pay or dreams pay or something like that. Yeah. Yep. All right. That's it. Time for this.
Yeah.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Ooh, goodness. We decided to do top 3 ambiguous / open-ended films.
Ambiguously ended films.
Yes. Ambiguous. Go to YouTube, the ambiguously gay duo, ladies and gentlemen. That's time.
That's an old SNL callback.
That's my growing up SNL right there.
Yeah, that's some fun stuff. Andrew goes first.
All right. Well, at number 3, I have The Shining.
Okay.
You shinned it.
I did. Number 2, which I guess actually The Shining is no longer since we have Dr. Sleep, but I haven't seen Dr. Sleep, so
I haven't seen Dr. Yeah, I don't know if they answered any questions with that.
I don't know.
Like I was looking at some of the same lists you were when we were Googling this before the show, and I'm not
go blind.
I don't get how it's an ambiguous ending because of the picture on the wall.
Yep.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, the picture on the wall makes you question, was he always there? Did he become a ghost part of it? It makes you question what happened to him.
Yeah.
It would be my reasoning of why I believe that's
what
answer.
Okay. That's fine. It's because I don't care. Because I didn't like the movie, so.
Yeah. So number 2, I have the new Joker.
Oh yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin.
Okay. Yeah, I've not seen it.
And then
yes, you got to go see it.
Oh yeah, it's good. And then number 1 is a movie that we did for the podcast recently, Extraction.
Oh, that's right. I totally didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm bummed out. I should have.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam.
All right. So I've got an honorable mention of Total Recall, the Schwarzenegger film. My number 3, I guess, would be Dark Knight Rises. Of whether or not that's truly Batman or not. I know you argued about that earlier, but I don't care. My number 2 is Joker. And my number 1 is Jurassic Park.
What's open-ended about it? We know what happens next. They made 2 more movies.
Well, Jurassic Park, no, the original one, you don't know if the dinosaurs are going to die. You know, he looks out the helicopter and you see the soaring pelicans, and maybe the animals are going to get off the island, and it's a very ambiguous ending.
Okay. Only because I don't want to have an argument. I don't think it is, but okay.
hence why I do have an honorable mention. So just so you know, we can shift all those up one if you want.
Because the movie does tell us the lysine contingency will kick into effect and they will die. The movie tells you that.
But it doesn't.
But it doesn't. But we don't know that as a viewer, and we think that they're gonna die, though we know they're breeding.
Yeah.
But
so see,
I don't think it's really one, but that's fine. Because I mean, okay, like I could then say that.
What about the future of the park? You never know what's going to happen. I mean, are they going to shut down the park? Are they going to rebuild it? Are they going to let the island go?
It feels like they would shut it down, right? Because remember, at the end of when Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just. I mean, I guess the argument I could make is like at the end of Star Trek 2, and Spock is dead. Like, is he dead or is he not or whatever? Like, because we know the answer though.
Okay.
Right? Like we know the answer to Jurassic Park. They've made 5 more movies, or four more movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but transport yourself back to the early '90s and think about what's going on.
But that's kind of like saying that's kind of like saying though at the end of Infinity War. Oh, what happens?
What's gonna happen?
No one knows.
Yeah, well, what's gonna happen? Yeah, exactly.
That's actually a better answer than Jurassic Park. Because we didn't know how they were going to come back. We knew they were going.
What about Iron Man, for God's sake? He just said who he was. What's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly.
You know who Spider-Man is now, right? What's going to happen?
Gosh, yeah. I don't know. I don't think of those as kind of open-ended movies though, because those are just cliffhangers, right? Those are meant to have a resolution to that answer.
Yeah.
Whereas
and I agree. Whereas Joker isn't in his mind. Inception does the top fall. It involves the entire theme of the movie.
Yeah.
All the way through and leaves you kind of what with a big question mark over your head.
You're right. Exactly. And so anyway, so my list is not nearly as fun as really any of yours because I just followed some of the list that
and we are more fun people. I mean,
well, that's very true. I mean, look at Andrew's awesome background right now. So
I know. How does he do it?
Though I will admit, your orange shirt kind of makes it look like you're in a prison jumper.
Yeah,
I am.
Called high school a band teacher. So my number 3 was Blade Runner.
Okay.
Of the open-ended, because now again we have a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of know, but we don't know in the moment. In 1982, is Deckard a replicant?
Mm-hmm.
Does he and the other replicant lady, do they go off and live forever, or does she die because replicants have short lifespans?
Finite, yeah.
Yeah. So number 2 was Shutter Island.
Have not seen that yet.
That's a creepy, fun kind of thing. I won't really tell you what the thing is because it will ruin the experience for you.
Yeah.
And that's the movie I think it's worth seeing, whether we do it for the podcast or whatever. But I think that'd be a movie that I think you would enjoy. It's a Scorsese film, and that one's one of those things that you get to the end and you're like, son of a gun. Okay. And then my number 1 was an American Psycho.
Okay, yeah.
I strangely like this movie. It's a weird movie to really enjoy, but there's something about Christian Bale's portrayal of this.
No, I haven't seen that. Does this have anything to do with Psycho?
No.
Norman Bates?
No.
Okay.
No. So imagine Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Yeah.
Only the difference, instead of quaaludes and hookers, he gets his joy off of murdering people.
Ah, okay.
But it's the same idea, right? It's this dude that's under he has this super high pressure job, and he's all about the
business card.
Yeah, the business card's a big thing. No, he's about the face. Like, he about has a mental breakdown because this guy that shows up for lunch has a business card that's nicer than his.
Huh.
And he like loses his, like he's having this,
Yeah.
you get an internal monologue of him and he wants to just strangle this guy. But basically the character, and again, I don't want to ruin anything for you, Andrew, but the character does, I mean, it's American Psycho. There's killing. All right, I'm just going to be honest with you. There's killing.
Okay.
But the question is, does he get away with it?
Mhm.
Or is it even real? We don't know. We think it's real, but the fact that anyway, it's a weird movie. It's weird, and just gonna go ahead and warn you too. Definitely not for the kiddies. I don't think your wife would want to be in the room with you either. You get a little bit of Christian Bale wiener. Just gonna be honest with you. You get a little bit of it.
Maybe she'd want to be in the room.
He is running naked while carrying a chainsaw. So
At least it's a Christian wiener.
Yeah. I heard a terrible joke. What was the joke? Oh my gosh. Like when a churchgoer jumps out of a boat, is that a Christian Bale or something like that? I can't remember. I missed it up there somewhere, but it made me laugh. I love this kind of bad puns. Okay, here we go.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
We are gonna rate. I said that word right. It just came out weird. Rank this movie.
Yeah, let's not.
Okay, let's not. We're just gonna not do this movie. We're gonna give this movie a score. How's that? From 0 to 10.
Okay.
And we add it into our list. And I'll be curious to see if this movie breaks our top 10. That would be interesting to know. Andrew goes first.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's a visual and very aesthetically pleasing film, and clever. It's just stuff that we haven't seen before. It's action. It's adventure. It tells a great story and leaves you with a good cliffhanger at the end. Well, ambiguous ending, right? So
ambiguously ending.
So I think it's a really great film. The only problem that I have with it, and it's not a huge issue, is the length. It's a long film, and I know that we said it doesn't feel like that long, but I think after viewing it a few times, it does start to feel that long. Because this time I've probably seen it 4 or 5 times, and this time watching it did. The first time in the theater, I didn't want it to end, but this time I was like, all right, still got 30 minutes left.
And the van is still falling.
Yeah, so that's the only thing I'm going to discredit it for, but I'm still going to give it a nice 8.2 out of 10.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love this movie. It's one of my favorites. It's smart, it's fun, it's action packed, it's something you don't see every day, but there's a few things in it that are a little off. The Gordon Levitt guy at the top of the stairs, saying whatever word that was. Paradox. I kind of understood that this time. But it's still fantastic. And I can't take too many points off for that. So I'm going to give it an 8.89 out of 10.
All right. Cool. Yeah, no, this is this is a great film. This really is a really good movie. IMDb has it ranked at an 8.8.
Wow.
There's very few things wrong with it, I think. It's really smart. It's really kind of entertaining. You're on the edge of your seat the whole time. You need to watch it. And honestly, this is a movie that I think you need to watch a couple times to really appreciate.
The layers.
Yeah,
absolutely.
As far as like rewatchability, I probably won't watch this movie again for maybe a few more years. Just because I don't need to. It doesn't quite have the same rewatchability as some other movies that I love, but that's fine. That doesn't mean that it's not great. So with that being said, I'm going to give it an 8.75 falling elevator explosion, gravity things. I do love the trivia that they had to put Ellen Page's hair in a bun so that they wouldn't have to figure out how to do hair in weightless in the zero G.
Oh yeah,
that would have been some major CGI there.
Yeah, and it would have looked bad, so they just
Yeah.
put her in a tight bun. She was rocking that bun. I do like how he's like, "Hey, give me a kiss," and then she kisses him. He's like, she goes, "Did it work?" He goes, "No, it's worth a shot." He just wanted to kiss her. Cool. Well, I mean, in case you gentlemen are curious, that score does not put it in our top 10. But oddly enough, it puts it one spot above the Prestige.
Oh, really? Well,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. That's not bad.
And I was actually thinking while you two were doing yours, if I were to rank Christopher Nolan movies, where would this rank? And it would probably come in third for me.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
Well, was it Dark Knight?
I like Batman Begins better than Dark Knight. I know that Dark Knight is a better movie, but Batman Begins to me is more fun and more rewatchable than Dark Knight. Because Dark Knight is kind of dark. I mean, it gets kind of rough. And Batman Begins is a little more fun. There's a little more jokes. It's a little bit more. It's more of a comic book movie than the Dark Knight. Again, the Dark Knight it's pretty harrowing sometimes. So I would do like Dark Knight 1 or Batman Begins 1, Dark Knight 2, and then Inception 3. That's how.
Okay. I'd probably put Inception at 2, only under Dark Knight for me.
Mm-hmm. And then what would be 3, like Prestige or?
I'd do Interstellar. Just because it just hits me the right way. Sure. But it's really like Prestige. Depends on how I'm feeling. Prestige, Interstellar, Inception. Those 3 can really kind of float around.
Yeah. Sorry. Interstellar I like, but I don't think I like it enough to put it in the top 3. I think I would put Prestige before it. But I'm right there with you on the other 2.
Okay. I'm looking at his videography, Nolan, and I've not seen Insomnia, and I've not seen Memento or Following. But basically from Batman Begins up, I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'll go see Tenet here when it's on in the movie
whenever
theater.
it's available. Yeah, I'll definitely go see Tenet. It looks really interesting, and I'm all for it. So I would probably do Batman Begins as 1, then Dark Knight, Inception, Prestige, Interstellar, maybe Dunkirk, then Interstellar, then Dark Knight Rises.
Oh,
I still haven't seen Dunkirk.
It's good. It's a World War II movie. It's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not bad. It is not bad. I will say that much.
Yeah, you just have to, again, once you realize that it's him screwing with the timeline of things. Because it's the story of Dunkirk itself is a harrowing story of what it is. And I guess Christopher Nolan realized
people know how it's going to end.
Yeah, we know how it's going to end, so let's just find an interesting way to tell a story of a bunch of people trying to get off the beach. Because that's what it is. Okay, that's it. I think we've talked enough for this episode, so I am going to stop talking. And instead, I'm going to play the outro music and just say, guys, thank you so much for listening. It's been a lot of fun. This was a really good movie. Go watch it. Definitely recommend you go watch this movie. Next week is going to be totally different. Sam is out of town.
Yep.
So we are bringing in a guest host extraordinaire, Stephen Honeycutt, who has his own podcast, the Theme Park Legends. And we are going to do a live review of Velocipaster. That's right. We are doing Velocipaster.
And that's on Amazon, right now?
On Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
We're going to do a live taping or live review. It'll be a lot of fun. Watch along with us. And I can't wait. It's going to be exciting. And then the week after that, we're going to have another special guest. Steve Everett is going to join us for Twister. And we're doing that movie specifically because I saw that movie with Steven in the theater all those years ago, and I can't wait to watch it again with my pal.
Nice.
So that's what we're doing. In the meantime, facebook.com/cheapseatreviews is how you can get a hold of us that way. Cheapseatreviews.com is our website, and at cheapseatreviews@gmail.com is, of course, our email. Yeah, leave us a review. Share the show if you would love. If you'd like to, we'd love it if you did. Anyway, so as I quickly wrap this up, I'm going to just say on behalf of Andrew and Sam, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week while the band still falls.